When faced with a challenge, we've got the ability to run towards it full steam and meet it head on to be able to embrace the challenge and grow and thrive as a result of the impact. Or we can retreat and wither and essentially decide that where we are right now is where we're going to be and we're never going to be in a better position. In this particular episode, we're going to go through things that you can do to automate best practice around your pharmacy. We're going to build on the last episode, which I'll reference as well underneath this recording, and what we can do to actually do more with a lot less. And in the same process, be able to create deeper, more meaningful patient relationships through a leverage of smart technology. And that's what we're all about. In the past episode, we spoke about a number of different tools that we can use to be able to automate our best practices on the assumption that we are being paid less and are less profitable per prescription or per professional service encounter. We need to be smarter about how we go about it. The way in which I've been reading recently is that we're going to stop a whole range of services and essentially do less for our communities because we're not being paid for them. Yes, we need to be paid for them, but yes, we also need to become more efficient at delivering them and delivering them in a way that is meaningful for us as pharmacists and less disruptive to our workflows than perhaps they have been in the past. And so the tools we're going to cover today are going to help you do that, and also to be able to make it easier for your patients to access them, particularly those who are more digital natives and are a little more savvy around the technology. And perhaps it helps to educate our other patients that are able to do the same, to be able to work with us to deliver services and to continue to service our communities, which we're so wonderful at doing nationwide. So the tools we spoke about last time, I'll just do a quick recap. We spoke about a tool called VaxApps. So vaccination's a topical issue. One of the services that have been bandied around that we should stop doing as a result of the 60-day dispensing reforms. I still believe there's a great opportunity for pharmacy, but we need to be very efficient at doing that. And VaxApp is one of those tools that allows you to automate all of the data capture, automate all of the practice improvements that we need to do, all of the data entries that we need to make to air, as well as payments as well for private ones. It's got a very powerful booking engine to be able to filter patients into the right buckets. So again, we're not having to contribute a team member to sit with a patient to work their way through various booking opportunities. And we're also able to load in our inventory to decide which vaccinations we are able to offer at any given time and put a cap on them as well, so that we're not overwhelming our already burdened pharmacy workflows. They're enhancing that platform to be able to tie in with the new version of VCF Connect, so that again, if you visit all of the government vaccine booking sites, it'll come straight through as well, which is another great thing. What we also covered were tools to be able to automate elements of a waiting list. So when we have patients on Ozempic and Trulicity and any other high demand product, and with the medicine shortages that may come from 60-day dispensing, we may need to enhance this and grow the number of molecules that we're able to capture in this particular workflow. So we will look at ways to be able to do that a lot more efficiently, notify our patients a lot more efficiently, and also capture payments a lot more efficiently as well. So we'll cover that as well. We spoke about a tool like JotForm, so you're able to capture any paper-based form in a digital space so that you're able to eliminate the extra data transcription and data entry that you're already doing in the pharmacy as well. So that will have further improvements. And we're going to talk about how we can capture those mobile payments as well. We spoke about a tool like Storby last year when we spoke about all of the elements about delivering the RATs and being able to capture payments, especially for those privately paid ones as well. So there's going to be an enhancement on that too. So let's get started. I'm really excited. I get excited when a challenge is faced to me because I know that there's going to be a solution to it, but we've got to put our right frame of mind around it. We've got to find a positive way through it. And obviously there are elements that are out of our control that may get back into our control as we continue to negotiate with government, but it is something that we need to take hold of, take ownership of in our pharmacies to be able to build and grow moving forward. So what I'm going to talk about is a tool called Cuda, Q-U-D-A. We've recently been using this one as an enhancement to our workflow that I spoke about using a tool called Help Scout. Help Scout's fantastic for creating that collaborative inbox for our patients to send prescriptions through to us, have our faxes coming in, so a central point for our team to receive all of this digital information, SMS inboxes when people send e-scripts in and so forth. So we're not going to talk about that particular tool, but Cuda does a fantastic job because it's integrated into our dispense system. We use Zed, and it does integrate with other systems as well, where you can simply scan a prescription, barcode, and it will allow you to choose to put the patient into the relevant special order grouping that you assign to it. So for example, we're using this for our Ozempic type 2 diabetic patients and Ozempic weight loss patients as well, and the various strengths. So we're able to maintain, I think we're looking at about 8 different lists around that for the various strengths of Ozempic, whether you're type 2 or weight loss, and being able to assign patients to those lists. So we're getting rid of all of those baskets that are clogging up our orders benches, and it allows us to see at a glance where patients are in that mode. When we receive stock, it's very easy to then assign stock to the patients at the top of the list, and it sends a customizable template that you can change out to those patients to be able to notify them that stock is available. So in order to provide fairness, and I know other pharmacies have different ways of handling this, but in order to deliver fairness to our communities, which is what I believe we're all about in terms of equal access to medicines, and not just simply putting a post on Facebook to say, hey, we got some Ozempic, bring your script in. We're able to prioritize the type 2 diabetics. They might work long hours, they might not be very mobile, so that they're all getting access to that stock, and they have a limited window that we can prescribe, like 7 days, for example, for them to come in and to allocate that stock to them. We've also added on to this as well, and I'll touch on this a little bit more in depth, but this is a great case for mobile payment links. So there is a tool that we use called Square, which can be used as a wider point of sale system, but it does allow us to generate payment links for a particular inventory item. You can also do this through Storby as well, but in terms of simplifying the number of clicks and steps for our patients to complete payment, I find that Square does limit that number, and it's very quick to receive payment from a patient in that mode. Where there's more products involved, maybe setting up a bundle of products and things like that in a different scenario, I think Storby has a much better feature set for that. And then we've also got that ability to capture payment. So patients are then being able to allocate stock immediately based on their payment type. So you can set up an item for a private prescription or for a PBS prescription, but at least you're getting paid for that stock, as opposed to having to wait for the patient to physically come into the pharmacy, which is far more frictionless. It means that the patient visit takes a lot less time when they come in, less people involved. There's no one there having to collect payment because that's being done automatically. And you do get notified as soon as those payments are made, so that you can access that, and one of your team, maybe doing the admin, can allocate that at your register as we do. So it's just a really simple way of offering a waiting list in a very streamlined fashion without having to commit a lot of team and a lot of resources to it. And it's a really simple and easy way to offer that. So Cuda, check it out. It's a fantastic tool that I know that you're going to love using. So touching on mobile payment links, Script, for some of you who have used that as an alternative to MedAdvisor, now are coming out with a payment feature that will be integrated into Zed Register. At the moment, if you're a Commonwealth Bank merchant, you are able to access that on a pilot. So speak to the Script guys about that if you want to do that. But that's going to make a way to automatically reconcile those payments, so you can send out a payment link to a patient as well. But for gross products like an Ozempic waiting list, it probably hasn't got a catch-all link that can be allocated to one particular product multiple times. But for an individual patient basis, for example, when you might be conducting a delivery and you want to capture payment over the phone or any other way, it's a fantastic way of sending out a mobile payment link. So again, these are things where technology are extra pairs of hands for us. And I think as a frame, we need to be looking at our workforce as more than just physical people. There are tools that can do these jobs so much better in a more reproducible way. I'm not going to scratch the surface and open the lid on AI on this, but there are some great opportunities coming forward with that, especially those linear processes that we know this is the best step-by-step guide that we can create for a process, and we can get AI to do it. We'll touch on that another time, but these are the types of things that we need to be looking at, tools to jump into our workflow so that it makes our lives a lot easier, it reduces our workload, and therefore the profitability per interaction improves on our side of things because we're reducing our operational costs. So really important that we look at that. The other part too, and this really bothered me too when I've been seeing these lists of services that pharmacies are going to stop doing. I don't think we need to stop doing them because they're free. We can charge for them, absolutely, but we need to decide what the caps are. As opposed to being an all-in provided any hour of any day, we need to perhaps put a cap on them. So it might be putting a cap on the number of stat decks and certifications that we do. We might charge for those too. And so what we need to be looking at is perhaps scheduling a lot of those interactions as opposed to just allowing a free-for-all, everyone come in at all the time. So this is an idea that I wanted to share. It's something that we're going to be trialing out in our practice, and it's about creating booking windows for people. So people could secure a booking between 12 and maybe 1 p.m. where they know they can come in and have a stat deck done. Part of that process is that they're able to prepay for that, so they've already pre-committed, so they're not going to waste our time, and make sure that if they've already paid, they're more likely to show up. So getting that pre-commitment's really important. But it also then tells us exactly what they want to get done. So it's not really a case of saying, hey, can you do a stat deck? And then you come in and they've given you 20 documents to certify as well. It's really making them very clear in terms of what the interaction is that they're after, and as well as also from our side of things, we know whether we can commit our workflow to it. That's something that we need to perhaps frame ourselves in terms of not stopping, but maybe reframing, reshaping so that it suits us better. Blood pressure is a fantastic opportunity there as well. I think the service that we offer there should be chargeable regardless. So again, it's creating a booking window where patients who can come in for a blood pressure check, you might offer maybe a 15-minute window, a 30-minute window when they can come in and have a blood pressure check, and you can look at your roster, see how many people you've got available, whether it's pharmacists, pharmacy assistants, pharmacy students, and you can allocate a person to that. But you know that you're not going to have more than 1 or 2 every hour, which is a huge drain. And again, it's not going to be something that we need to take away from our dispensaries, which are going to be completely overwhelmed with 60-day dispensing. So in order to look at all of these interactions, we just need to be smarter, look at things differently, not make rash decisions to jump out of services that are fantastic for our communities, but just maybe use technology to help us manage that workflow better. And I think that's the underlying theme that I'd love you to take away from this particular episode. As always, I'd love to know, this is just an indication of what you can do in your practice with technology to automate your best practice. I'd love to know what you're doing in your practice to automate best practice. And I look forward to speaking with you soon. Bye for now.